Start streaming. Oh, snippity snap. Hello. Can you hear the words that are coming out of my face hole? Why not? 5 by 5. Hey, it only took us 5 minutes this morning to fight our way into our own damn YouTube channel. You know, I find it interesting. YouTube, is it because... Are you violating my rights? Is that what's happening here? Well, how do we want to go here? Should we go with constitutionally God-given, constitutionally protected rights here? Freedom of speech? Well, you know, that's a what do they call it? Section 230, publisher versus platform. Yeah. How about this? We got an executive order about like anti-Semitic stuff, right? Like, what if? How can we spin this? Like, so I'm a believer in Messiah. He's of the tribe of Judah. I'm Ephesians chapter 2, part of Israel, grafted into Romans 11, the tree of life. So by limiting my speech, does that make you civilly liable for violating the First Amendment? I'm sorry. Yes, it does. But also the executive order that Donald J. Trump, 45/47, put into effect. Now, we've had no other meaningful legislation in the meanwhile, like none. We can't codify the Doge cuts. We've got no release of files, and none of that stuff has happened. But maybe there's got to be a way we can spin this thing that if I confess Yeshua as HaMashiach, Jesus is the Christ, and we all read Matthew chapter 1 together, and we see that this was a dude in the line of King David who was of the tribe of Judah, then certainly there's got to be some bulldog Levi Horowitz freaking attorney out there somewhere that can get me like $1 trillion from YouTube for violating my civil liberties, right? I'll settle out of court for $1 billion. Right? It's got to be fun. They fined Alex Jones $1 billion, and that was just InfoWars. So, you know, YouTube is owned by Google. Google basically owns planet Earth, you know, the beast system, all of that. So surely, if we sue for $1 trillion, we could settle out of court for $1 billion. And then think about last show, yesterday we were talking about the Bear Nation bunker. We could probably do a lot for $1 billion. We could probably buy up Cheyenne Mountain or something. You know, the government surplus auction. I think it'd be fun. Good morning, everybody. How are we? We're so good, Bear. Awesome. Let's get the important stuff out of the way. So if you're on Patreon, you already know this. If you're not on Patreon, that's okay. There's links in the description, but whatever. We need prayer. Why? Why do we need prayer? Because Baby Bear 5.0 is cooking. Bun in the oven. Here it comes. Baby Bear 5.0. And we're stoked about it. And it's awesome. And praise the Most High. Just when you thought life couldn't get even more chaotic, hey, how's that sabbatical working out for you? Great. It's working out great, you know. And it's, listen, it's not my fault that my wife is hot, okay? And the first commandment is be fruitful and multiply. You got a polo shirt on today, Mike? Oh, man, you look hot, too. Everybody looking hot around here. Mike's got a collared shirt on. The lasagna is cooked, as said Texas Sheep Lady. The noodles are done. So yeah, we're super stoked about that. You know, all the questions like, is it a boy? Is it a girl? It's
way early.
Way early. It's the size of my pinky nail right now.
No, it's like the grain of a salt.
like a grain of sand. I shall make your seed like the sands of the seashores. Wow. And in you all the nations of the earth shall be blessed. Oh, you sound like a religious extremist, Bear. Yep, check. You are not religious extreme enough. You do not take the Bible or the Constitution literally enough, says me. I don't take it literally enough, and I'm a biblical and constitutional literalist. Like, Word of God, and then Word of the Founders. And by these two things, we can navigate, right? The Word and the Word made flesh. So... this lighting is terrible. This is what happens when J.I. Dudley's on deployment and I'm forced to do a brief by myself. Look at me, 47 minutes of preamble, bad lighting. Anyway, the world's ending. I don't know if you guys know this or not. I've been up since 2 a.m. because the current Baby Bear 4.0 decided that she was going to get wiggly at 2 o'clock in the morning. and she and Mama fell back to sleep, but I didn't. Good news is for you, though, you do have a Zechariah 6 video coming this week because I recorded it at 2:48 this morning. And then I typed on my computer with my giant fingers, banging out chapter 2 of the Prepper Classroom 201. So working on all that stuff for you guys because I love you. Did I mention the world's going to end? Yeah, world's going to end. From RT, a new front. Russia expands into Ukraine to build a military buffer zone. No shit, Sherlock. Putin's buffer zone aims to create space, both literally and politically, from Ukraine's firepower. Blah, 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 blah. Russian President Vladimir, blah, 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 secured buffer zone, blah, blah, blah. Long-awaited announcement on May 22nd. That was almost a week ago. Putin declared that Russia had begun establishing a buffer zone along the Ukrainian border. He said, why do we even care anymore? Who cares, man? We've been doing this for 3 years, more than 3 years. We get it. Russia doesn't like Ukraine. Ukraine doesn't like Russia. We talked about this yesterday. The reason I care, maybe your reasons are different, but the reasons I care is because I don't want to glow in the dark. And I don't want my sons and daughters to go bleed and die for a beast system half a world away so that politicians can extract trillions of dollars in mineral wealth from the soil underneath Ukraine. And it feels like Mr. No new wars, no wars, I'll have it. It'll be over on day one, folks. It's not day one anymore. And here we are. They're escalating, the big they, reptilian overlords asterisk, are escalating yet again in Ukraine. I don't want a World War III. I feel like that's not going to be good for a lot of people, and I am not for good people dying. I'm all for bad people dying. That's biblical. But most really nice Christian people don't get that because they don't read their Bibles. They just preach to you on Sunday morning from some sopping wet P word from behind a podium. But I digress. I'm not for good people dying. Good people all over the world, men, women, and children all over the world. I don't want them to die, and I don't want to export good people from here over there so that they would potentially die and suffer moral injury and be shot, stabbed, blown up, and have blast amputations and mechanical amputations and carry scars internal and external for the remainder of their days in pursuit of wealth underneath the ground. That's like the definition of Babylonian bullshit, if you ask me. Comma. So I care for those reasons because these are indicators that I think we should be tracking from a preparedness standpoint because we should all have a helmet, right? The question is, what's his name? Ron White? There's 2 levels, right? Have a helmet, put on the damn helmet. We should all already have a helmet. The question is, do I need to put it on? And we saw a few days ago, allegedly, Putin's helicopter was attacked by a Ukrainian drone swarm and it was able to take evasive measures and get out of the way. And then Russia responded by shooting rockets and drones deep inside Ukrainian lines. And then Ukraine responded with the permission of Mers from Germany and Starmer from the UK and Macron from France, who's married to a dude like they all are because they're all a bunch of satanic pedophiles playing make-believe, spending your taxpayer dollars that are all made up anyway because they're not backed by any actual wealth. All those jerks said, yeah, no problem, Zelensky, you cokehead piece of crap. You can shoot as many missiles and drones as deep into Russia as you want. In other words, escalation. And so I care from a standpoint of escalation because even though it's prophesied for the world to end, I'm actually not in a hurry for it to end because baby bear number 5 is on the way. Praise Yah. And if we have to raise baby bear number 5 in a poncho hooch in the wilderness on the side of a mountain somewhere, we'll do that, and we'll do it with a smile on our face. However, I'm kind of partial to the home that we just built so that we would have room for more baby bears. You know what I mean? You know what I mean. In other news from newscientist.com, the sun is killing off SpaceX's Starlink satellites. That's a fun headline. The sun is killing off SpaceX's Starlink satellites. What could possibly go wrong here? There have never been so many satellites orbiting Earth as there are today. How do you know, man? What about the Tower of Babel and the Anunnaki and the ancient alien civilizations? And there have never been so many satellites orbiting Earth as there are today, thanks in part to the launch of mega constellations like SpaceX's Starlink internet service. I feel like this guy who wrote this article, Jonathan O'Callaghan, happened to be watching Sesame Street in the background, and the letter of the day was S, and he's like, what if I alliterate an article headline with all these S's using words that most people don't speak on the regular? SpaceX's Starlink satellites. Say that 12 times fast. And now we are learning just how the sun's activity can affect them. Yeah, it blows them up. Coronal mass ejections, it fries their circuitry, and then they go into a degrading orbit because they no longer have orbital control, and then they slowly circle the Earth, whether you think it's a flat pizza-shaped object or a globe, doesn't matter, who cares. And then they retrograde, they come down to Earth, they burn up in the upper atmosphere, the firmament, and then they're useless. Eruptions from the sun are shortening the lives of satellites in Earth orbit, particularly large constellations like SpaceX's Starlink, which could be both beneficial and cause for concern. The sun goes through an 11-year cycle of activity, peaking with a period known as solar maximum, which most recently occurred in late 2024. During these periods, increased eruptions from the sun can create geomagnetic storms that heat our planet's atmosphere, blah, 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 blah. That's it? That's the whole article? Yeah, I want to... Oh, subscribe to... You know what? Kiss my buttocks. Go to hell, newscientist.com. Trump's approval ratings. Let's look at the chat real quick. Hey, J.A. Dudley is here. Good morning, everybody. Typically, I'd say things like subscribe, ring the little bell icon, share the show. I don't know if you should do that today. Today's going to be one of them days. And I've got a ton of stuff to do today, man. I got to coordinate some live streams with Jason from Kentucky Sustainable Living. I got to push out the TLOs for scenario-based training to our refuge training partners who came for Train the Trainer. I got to check in with a couple of big strategic clients that we have going on. And I've got to continue to work on the finer points of the curriculum for Wilderness Responder, all of which is up on the training tab at refugemedical.com. Shalom from South Africa, Jacques Cloet. Dude, you should run away from South Africa? What are you doing, man? Unless you're not a Boer, because they're trying to kill the Boer down there. They're chanting about it. Don't you know? Oh, no. They don't actually mean kill the Boer when they say kill the Boer. It's just a song that we sing. We would never actually do that, except for they've been killing the Boer. So, I don't know, dude. Maybe consider strategic relocation. You might, yeah, if I was you, I'd probably consider strategic relocation. Let's rub our eyeballs. If we rub hard enough, the sleep will fall out of them. Although there's a chance that the brain will fall out too, and that's a problem. MSN. So gay. This MSN, very bad, folks, very bad. Look at me. I'm doing the white power hand symbol right here. It's the opposite of South Africa. We love the Boer. We're importing Boers into this country. President Donald Trump's approval rating has inched its way near a 2-month high. Polls from The Economist and YouGov show. Trump has routinely touted positive approval ratings during the blah, blah, blah. The president returned to the White House in January. He coasted in with positive numbers. However, his approval ratings then dipped significantly amid sweeping tariff announcements. Trump later walked back the tariffs by announcing a 90-day pause for the majority. In a poll out Tuesday, that was yesterday, the president has a 44% approval rating among U.S. adult citizens. Notice citizens, U.S. adult citizens with a 52% disapproval rating. The survey was taken from May 23 through May 26 among 1,660 respondents with a 3.2% margin of error. In other words, complete and utter garbage data. And yet here it is being reported by MSN, and here I am reporting on MSN reporting it, so maybe we all suck. 1,600 respondents, that's what you call a poll. Out of 340 million plus people in this country, we're going to survey 1,600 people and call it a good data set. Trash. The president's approval rating has not been this high with the pollsters since a poll taken 30 March, when Trump had a 46% approval rating with 49% disapproval rating. That poll surveyed 1,626 people. Wow, they're working hard for their money, and had a 3.3% margin of error. The previous week, Trump's approval rating was also higher at 48%. Blah, blah, blah propaganda. Who are they talking to that's happy right now about this person? Because is this person better than Kamala Harris? Sure, I think. I don't know, but I think. Is this person better than Biden? I believe so. Better than Barack Hussein Obama? Yeah, probably. Better than Tim Walz? Very likely. Has this person done all the things that they said they were going to do? No. Well, Barry, you got to trust the plan. You got to give it time. I don't got to shit, just so we're on the same page. I don't got to do nothing. Okay? I don't have to trust the plan. I don't have to give it time. Mostly because this person and the people who are occupying the cabinet level positions of this person, number 47, all said, on day one, well, day one's over. It's been over. It's been over for 4 months, 5 months. It's no longer day one. And so what happened was this person in a campaign media blitz, who also took $230 million from AIPAC, $230 million, almost $250 million for his campaign from AIPAC, American Israeli Political Action Committee, which then results in things like these executive orders on anti-Semitism. Are you even allowed to talk about executive orders on anti-Semitism without violating the executive orders on anti-Semitism? How does that work? That sounds like curtailing of free speech, which is against the First Amendment of the United States of America, because we don't elect kings. We elect presidents that are supposed to be servants of the people, duly elected servants of the people, to represent the interests of the people, operating as the highest executive in the executive branch, not to be confused with the legislative and judicial branches. Now, the legislative branch, aka Congress, they suck too. And they're all bought and paid for, many of which by AIPAC, many of which by China, some of which by Russia. Dual citizenship, 100%. So legislative branch, hot garbage, other than a handful of people like Thomas Massey that Trump wants to primary. Dude, read the room, okay? Rand Paul, I like Rand Paul. Remember 15 years ago when Ted Cruz was good? Remember that? It's like, oh, we might have a shot with this Ted Cruz guy. Nope, turns out he's a total rhino. All right. What's the dude with the eye patch from Texas? He's terrible. Dan Crenshaw. Horrendous, that guy. So anyway, legislative branch. No, okay, so what about the judicial? Oh, you mean all those judges that Obama appointed and George Soros paid for? Yeah, they're hot garbage too. Which leads into, well, the executive branch has to take unprecedented actions to mitigate the damage that the legislative and the judicial is doing, aka drain the swamp. The problem with drain the swamp is the swamp is bigger than one man for 4 years. Okay? And so this gets back to, I don't want this to happen, but I think the whole thing has to burn to the ground so that it can then maybe be rebuilt. Now, here's the thing, though. Rebuilt by who? Okay, because there's a bunch of people who are like, I'm a hardcore patriot, man. Okay, then do something. Well, Bear, aren't you a hardcore patriot? Yeah, remember, allegiance to God first, and then to country. Right? To God first, then country. So, well, what nation are you a part of, Bear? I belong to Messiah, and Messiah was no respecter of worldly authority. Don't you remember? Probably don't. When he was being interrogated by Pontius Pilate, and Pilate's like, where's your kingdom? They're calling you a king. Where's your kingdom? He says, my kingdom is not of this earth. Okay, cool. Now, if you don't pay attention to politics, you're going to be ruled by people who do. So there's an element there. Being able to read the tea leaves and know permissive environment, go, no go, what's going on here, geopolitical indicators. But this dude, Trump, even if he was 100% genuine, I don't think has the horsepower that he said that he did in order to be able to actually drain the swamp. And I'm 0% impressed by his appointments. Other than Hegseth. Hegseth seems okay. You know, Tulsi, remember everybody was super excited about Tulsi? Oh, she's awesome. She performs in the tactical games. I saw her doing pull-ups with a plate carrier on. That's so cool. Oh, so they hired a bunch of influencers. They basically looked at the Sean Ryan Show and Jocko podcast alumni, and they're like, who is on this list that we can push into positions of power inside of the federal government? Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, they both suck shit. I knew from jump, the moment they were like, we're bringing Kash in, that's going to be a problem. Bongino, also a problem. Pam Bondi, also a problem. All these people are problems. And so I don't think the swamp's going to get drained. Even if they had the best of intentions, I don't think that they can drain the swamp. Which means what? For all the people that took their feet off the accelerator of preparedness when this dude got elected in November, it's time to put your foot back on the accelerator again. Because the system is so broken that even if Donald J. Trump, 45-47, was completely altruistic and could do all the things that he said he wants to do, I don't think he'd get away with it. I don't think he actually can. The swamp's not drained. Remember when Kash and Dan came over to the FBI, everybody was like, well, there goes Patriot Front. I guess we'll never see those guys again because it was totally an inside job. Well, either Kash and Dan don't have the horsepower to make Patriot Front go away because they're back, or Kash and Dan are in on it, which nobody wants to think about. That's a problem. So for everybody who stopped preparing or slowed down, I think it's time to get serious again because Russia and Ukraine is accelerating. The sun is killing Elon's satellites. Trump's approval ratings are up based on what? The economy that's dead, flat, and stagnant? Do I want a great economy? Yeah, that's why I voted for this dude. And I'm beginning to regret doing that, being perfectly honest, because I haven't seen any meaningful change. Everybody talks about the tariffs, right? Oh, yeah, the tariffs. Well, you know what the tariffs have done? They've introduced a massive amount of uncertainty globally when it comes to manufacturing. Globally. Like, there's basic constituent components of what we do here at Refuge. Just can't get them. Just can't. You want red cloth to make bags with? Sorry. What? Yep. Yeah. And even this dude said the other day, he goes, America, we want big businesses. We don't need textiles. We don't need textiles? Have you not heard of Berry Compliant, homie? Like, you do. Okay, you do need textiles. Your Department of Defense that you love so much and you said it loves you back. Every one of those soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and space nerds, every one of them's got multiple uniforms. Who's going to sew the PT belts, right? Got to have them, right? And the web gear and the molly and the plate carriers and the chest rigs and the war belts and the boots and the helmet covers and the, all the little sacks and pouches and the rucksacks and all that. Berry compliant. It's got to be made in the United States of America. Okay, so that would be a textile industry, sir. It's kind of a big deal. So we're going to go to war with China and Russia when not all of, but a whole bunch of our warfighting material comes from overseas. So see, here's the thing. The United States of America strategically is by and large already under siege. We don't produce the things that we need in order to sustain ourselves here. In between the Pacific Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean, in between Canada and Mexico, right here, we don't produce the things that we need to have here. Globalization has kicked our ass, and nobody is brave enough to admit it. And so, dude's approval ratings are up. Okay, based on what? Was it because the Epstein files came out? Or was it because we actually cleaned house at the FBI? Or was it because the economy's up? Or is it because the war in Ukraine has ended? Or is it because Pam's doing such a good job? What is it? And when this guy does well, we will absolutely give him credit. And when he doesn't, we will call him on the BS. I'm unimpressed thus far. He should have done so much more. He campaigned as if he could have done so much more. And I guess it's just that heartache. I finally, like 4 cells in my body finally started to believe that there might have been a chance here. Shame on me for even thinking that way. I know better. I knew better. Now, I want the United States of America to do well. I want Trump to do well. I want us to do well. I just, reading the tea leaves, I don't see that happening right now. Which leads to, from MSN.com, Musk says he's disappointed with Trump-backed mega bill. This is Elon's disappointed face right here. Doesn't he have like 17 kids with like 11 different people? I don't know. Elon Musk seems to be unhappy with the sweeping spending bill narrowly passed by the House at the urging of President Donald Trump. Musk, in unusual criticism of a cause favored by his ally, the president, said in an interview excerpt released Tuesday that Trump-backed Big Beautiful Bill contradicts the goals of his Department of Government Efficiency. Quote, I was disappointed to see the massive spending bill, frankly, which increases the deficit, not just decreases it, and undermines the work that the Doge team is doing, end quote, the billionaire Tesla CEO said in an interview with CBS scheduled to run in full on Sunday. The mega bill, which passed through the House by a single vote last week, incorporates much of Trump's domestic agenda on tax cuts, immigration, and other matters. And we still have an NFA, is my understanding currently. Oh yeah, you just don't have to pay the tax stamp. Okay, so we have an NFA, which means there's still a registry on things that are covered under the Second Amendment of the United States of America. Oh, well, suppressors aren't arms. You don't have a right to them. It's hearing protection. It's a Hearing Protection Act. There should be a move under OSHA in order to make suppressors mandatory. Go the complete other direction. But I digress. Quote, I think a bill can be big or it can be beautiful, but I don't know if it can be both, in my personal opinion, Musk added. Musk launched Doge with a promise of $2 trillion in savings. It has hollowed out or shut down 11 federal agencies, and about 250,000 federal workers have left their jobs. It said it saved taxpayers $160 billion. Meanwhile, total government spending has increased, according to the nonpartisan Penn-Wharton budget model, which tracks weekly Treasury data. The billionaire's criticism could influence the eventual content of the mega bill, which faces uncertain prospects in the Senate. Republican Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson, a Trump ally, is pushing for deeper cuts to reduce the deficit. Others in the GOP object to the extent of Medicaid cuts and legislation and rollback of Inflation Reduction Act credits. So we're finding out now, as air quote conservatives control the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the Supreme Court of the United States of America, allegedly, that the Republicans really are just the opposite wing of the same crappy bird that is American politics. They campaign on fiscal conservatism, and then when they have the opportunity to engage in it, don't. Which gets to the valuation of the U.S. dollar. I was messaging with somebody, just Rebels Raiders. You might have heard of them. Cool dude. And they also produce ballistic nylon, right? Their stuff is overseas manufactured, but it's good quality. And we were messaging back and forth on X, and we landed on, as a topic of conversation, the devaluation of the U.S. dollar, which has lost 97 to 98% of its spending power in the last 100 years. The money's not real, and the ability to prop up the air quote economy with money that's not real, coupled with Russia, Ukraine getting weird again, coupled with the idea that Europe is going to affect its own security, even though there are more licensed hunters in the United States of America than there are soldiers in all of Europe. Okay, it's just a resource game. They have fewer people, they have a lot less money, and they've sent most of what they have over to Ukraine. So, and then you get into like demographic collapse, then the immigration issue, the whole night. There's all these indicators, man. It's We All Gonna Die Wednesday, right? If we had the board up behind me, it'd all be lit up. It would all be lit up. And so when a world superpower collapses, and I don't want it to because we are that world superpower, but when it does, the that collapse reverberates around the entire world. The whole world feels it. And I also am not interested in speaking Mandarin or Russian or Farsi or Arabic or Hindi or anything else. Not interested. So what does that leave us? Being wildly, ruggedly independent of this broken, fragile system that if/when it goes away, we don't go away with it. And so just so your standard Monday morning, we're all going to die Wednesday. You guys know how it be. I just want to come on here, chat with y'all, give you the real news of the day, which is baby bear number 5 on the way. Super stoked about that. You guys know the drill, refugemedical.com. It's right there. That's what it looks like on the internets. If you have some of that internets, that's what it will look like if you go there. And it's like, for really reals, the best stuff on planet Earth. Shout out to Cody at Wrangler Star, by the way. Yesterday, he put a video out talking about his speedball kit. I think it said something to the effect of like, your bug out bag sucks or something like that. And he was highlighting the adventure bag from here, from Refuge Medical, made right over there by real Americans, not robots or machines or little Chinese people. And then also the belt kit. I think, do we still have some belt kits in stock? Yep, we got some belt kits. So that's cool. And right now, you have today and tomorrow. Is it today, tomorrow? Does it end Friday?
It ends at the end of the month, whenever that is.
End of the month. I don't know when that is. Midnight, end of the month. You have until the end of the month. You can get a BOGO, buy one, get one, 30% off on all kits and buckets. Kits and buckets. Not components, not training. Kits and buckets. Here at refugemedical.com. This is a really cool bag, by the way. This is the mag bag, Move, Adapt, Go bag right there. It's like a fanny pack, but you can also put it on the handlebars of your bike. You can mount it to the visor of your truck. You can wear it as a sling bag. It's very configurable. And, of course, it's made in America and guaranteed forever. And you can add a slick kit or a cat to it that's purpose-built, will fit inside of this bag. So that's a cool little thing that you got going on there. And we've got a bunch of training coming up. We do have a class coming up with Jason at Kentucky Sustainable Living. So be sure to check that out. That's a really cool class. It's right here. Bleeding prevention course. Me and Mike will be there in Kentucky teaching this. And I don't know how many seats are left on that, but that's like our only class on the road that so far this year that we have booked. So check that out. We'll be there teaching that. And then we have this class coming up, Zero to Hero Radio Operator. I think there's only a couple, 3 seats left on that one right there. Strongly recommend you come. That's a 2-day class that we're doing with Evan from Radio Made Easy. And it includes a radio. Like, you leave with stuff. And what I really like about this class is that it's not death by PowerPoint. You will be sent on all kinds of training missions in order to go confirm that your radio actually works and you know how to use it. So it's experiential learning. I like that a lot. And so that's coming up. And of course, we've got wilderness medicine class coming up. We added for you guys a 1-day refuge responder, and that is June the 22nd here in Spiro, Oklahoma. And then we also added an essential responder, which is a 2-day event, and that's coming up in October 26, 27. So all that's on the website, refugemedical.com. You can use promo code BearNation for free shipping, but don't tell my wife. I think that code's still active. And so, yeah, wow. Don't tell her. It's not like she's sitting right there, guys. And then, let's see, www.grindstone.com. These guys, my homies, are they're in London, Kentucky right now, being the hands and feet of the Most High. These guys and girls, they're awesome. And so if that's something you want to be a part of, this is where you go. Links in the description for all this stuff. You go to grindstoneministries.com and you sign up. And right now we're trying to raise $20K for a shower trailer so that we can shower while we're in the field helping people. And because we generally have to rent one of those things, and they're actually pretty freaking expensive. It's like $1,800 a week, which is just gonzo, man. It's just dumb. So We'd rather own the infrastructure and make good use of it than, have to pay somebody else for it. By the way, with Refuge, if you guys have any questions, call the store, hit the live chat, or shoot us an email, admin@refugemedical.com. And if you go over here to this contact us page on the site, our phone number's right here. It's right there. And then you've also got, there's a contact form as well. So check that out. And then, of course, Grindstone Ministries, and then www.calebhouse.org, where we do counter trafficking. We actually do it. We don't just talk about it. A bunch of people recently were like, hey, man, did you see Tim Tebow on the Sean Ryan show talking about this stuff? I'm like, uh-huh. What did you think? I didn't watch it. They're like, why? Why didn't you watch it? Because I don't need Tim to tell me about it, because we already know. Because the people that Tim works with, we work with. Huh, interesting. And we're 100% privately supported, primarily, that's the word, primarily by y'all, the Bear Nation. And we appreciate your help. If you want to volunteer, volunteers@calebhouse.org. Stay tuned. We're going to have a couple of drives coming up over the summer where it's like, hey, we need this stuff to build this thing. So that's all the links, guys. You guys know the drill. refugemedical.com, grindstoneministries.com, calebhouse.org. Patreon is down there in the description. Check it out. Y'all have a blessed day. And, I'll see you when I see you. Appreciate you guys very much, for real. Share the show or don't. It's up to you. Shalom, everybody.